Little beeps. Fix the camera. Excuse me. All right. So I noticed a lot of you guys were interested in the last video, and so we're gonna keep going a little farther and more details of this stuff. See if anybody shows up. So the last video I was trying to do was basically talk out what I'm feeling when I'm, doing qigong style practices in the tai chi. And it's difficult for me because I practice everything holistically. So I gotta give a backstory to this, because I know a lot of people come to my channel and I'm getting random comments from people that aren't really getting the big picture, and part of it's my fault from the branding. So I'm gonna try to fix this up for you and make you understand how I came across. How I got to the conclusions in my Tai Chi form and why my Tai Chi is so different now. So I started in like about 1996-ish, and when I learned the Tai Chi, I learned William Chen's form, and the way I learned it was, I was shown the short form, and I got William Chen's book, and so once like I said before, it was one of my teacher's black belts. I was in the school, and because I normally show you something, and he freaking put a phone book in my chest and he punched me with a hollow fist. I was like, what the fuck is that? So I started taking lessons from him on the side and going through William Chen's book through the form. So for the first 4 years, because I didn't have any other experience in Tai Chi up until 2001 when I started teaching at I was renting from Mind and Body Power Center at the time, and Avi Schneider was my second teacher. So that was the Chen and Ching form, and that's when I started doing actually getting into push hands. So later on after that, around 2003, is when YouTube first started. So now at that point, you understand, I'm already, by that time, 3rd or 4th dan black belt. I've already been training for 20 years, okay? So you understand, I've already had my own schools. This is way ahead of so I'm seeing all this woo-woo Tai Chi stuff, and I'm like, all right, I gotta figure out what the hell's going on here. Because this doesn't, this looks like bullshit. And in all respect, I knew at that time I was already so far ahead of 99% of the population. There's no reason why I can't decode this bullshit, figure out what kind of trickery they're using. If it's bullshit, if it's not bullshit, I gotta figure out how to do it. Okay? So at that point, now remember, this is, I've always been teaching my entire life. Since I was 16 years old, I've been teaching martial arts of one kind or another. Boxing, kickboxing, Tai Chi, Muay Thai, I've done nothing but this is all I've done. You know what I mean? So even when I'm working on the jobs, computer tech, or I was flying around doing stuff, or I was teaching music, or I was, working in business, finance, or whatever. I've always been teaching on the side. In my entire life, in the last 30 years, there's not been a time in my life I wasn't teaching somebody something. So for me to not be able to figure it out, it's not gonna happen. So then, years go by, when I tell you I go into something, I go into it, that I go into full immersion mode. Now, I stopped watching television in 1995-ish, okay? So, the way I look at things and how I train things, it's very extraordinary. You're not gonna get you're never gonna, all these guys trying to copy them and steal my content, I don't ever mention it, because you can copy my style, you're never gonna copy me. Because you don't have the balls to walk a day in the life that I walk. So you're just never gonna get there. Okay? So don't worry about those guys. Let them do their thing. But the point is that I really went on a mission for a decade to figure out how this works, why is it broken, who stole what. I made it my life's mission. Okay? I'm gonna steal everything. That's really where it came from, was when you read the legends and you understand the history of Tai Chi and the history of China and all this stuff, but just look about Tai Chi, to make it simple. Yang style is stolen. So I was like, okay, and another thing was, I just studied Tai Chi Ninjutsu a little. I literally studied every goddamn martial art that there is. Some guy And I get annoyed with this. Some guy commented, "Oh, you should try equine." I'm like, I try to be humble, but it's like, what part of I am that level expert that you guys don't understand? Like, what part of this aren't you guys getting? What fucking world do you think I don't know what equine is? Like, why would you assume these things? Like, why is it so difficult for you guys to give me my flowers or understand the level that I'm on? And it's like, I want to be humble about it. I want to be like, but you're not letting me. Okay, I can't. You know, I grew up in a time, right, where, you know, and look, I mean, when I was growing up, I was like the Goodwill Hunting kid, okay? Like, I was supposed to be Dewey Howard. Like, I skipped 6th grade. I broke fucking tests. I was that, you know, the anomaly from the fucking. So it's a difficult. Sorry, guys. It's you know. But anyway, getting to the point. So I went through all this trouble trying to figure out all the techniques and stealing them. When I mean like stealing them, I would go undercover like a newbie, and I learned this from years early from the older guys. I would go into schools, I think I'm a white belt, and let people beat me up and hide and let them hit me. And people from Tai Chi guys, they know this. They know I'll go into the meetups and I'll act like I'm just like I don't know anything. Or one of my favorites is like, you know, when you meet me because remember, again, the 8 noble truths are relative to your position and the time you're in. You gotta think like a ninja. Okay? If I'm in a collective group, I'm going to interact like what the Romans do. When I'm with respectful martial artists who earn and deserve respect and follow the protocol and understand the traditions, I'm going to treat them that way. When I'm on YouTube with a bunch of fucking posers who've never fucking got into a fight life, who play martial arts, who go and they fucking train once a week, or if they're lucky 3 hours a week, like, and you're talking to me like we're equals, that you understand? I'm coming from another timeline. We're not equals, okay? We're not friends. We're not equals, okay? I am like, you know, I'm the master on the mountain, and you guys are scrubs. 90% of you guys come to me, talking to me as if you've done something. Your life, like, I can't deal with you. I'm trying to be humble about this. I'm sorry, but it's difficult. Anyway, so I went for years, guys, and when I tell you, I've never said no to anyone. Some guy, you know, and I gotta say this also, like, you know, some guys commented on my, I didn't even know that the people that were commenting were people that I knew sometimes. But anyway, I'm sorry I made this a long rant, but I have to catch up with my video log part, and we'll get into technique soon, I promise. Okay, we're gonna do a very clear technique demonstration for you today. But I want to make sure people understand how I came across these things. It wasn't just like, oh, I did the form, or like, you know, I'm fucking Frank Dukes or Jake Mates. No, I'm not that guy. I put in decades non-stop studying. Okay, I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. All I do is research and study. If I'm not doing martial art, I'm researching and studying something else. And it's all I do. And every single day, this is why no one has ever been able to keep up with me. Okay. In any school I've ever trained in, no one's ever kept up with me. Why? Because I'm constantly, every single day, doing something, even if it's this much. So if I'm putting a penny in my bag every single fucking day, and you're only putting a quarter in once a month, who's gonna win? You see what I'm saying? I'm still gonna beat you by 5 cents. Okay? So over time, that becomes a lot. So anyway, so living in New York, I had a lot of opportunities because there's so many pockets. And you guys that are coming from like these places, like I grew up in the most condensed place in the world where it's the hub for the world. I didn't have to go to China. China came to me. I didn't have to go to Japan, Korea. They came to me. Philippines came to me. Okay? There was no martial art that I could not find and try and test at least once in my life, okay? But with Tai Chi, I really got sucked in for many reasons. You know, it was the synchronicity. My spirit guide put me on the path to balance. You know, so it's like basically I got the fire meditation, the water meditation on accident. Okay, I came from the tiger school and the water school. Okay, it's just what happened. So when I started to look at Tai Chi, I remember I live outside society. I'm not one of you guys. I've never been in society like you. So I look at it like I'm watching, I'm seeing this. From '96 to 2001, my training on the side of Tai Chi for me was help build my tendons to relieve the fucking damage I'm doing from hardstyle and to hit harder. That was it. William Chen's style, when I learned it at that time, they were still sparring with boxing gloves and they were still hitting each other and they were punching each other. It wasn't push hands, okay? And William Chen and his kids were not known for push hands. They're known for knocking people the fuck out. So when I learned Tai Chi, I learned Tai Chi to fight for boxing. It didn't occur to me that any of this other shit existed for anything other than punching people until 2001 when I met Avi, okay? Because all I had was the book and one teacher. There was no internet, okay? It was not a thing, okay? And you didn't really see, you saw people practicing Tai Chi in the park, but it wasn't like a big thing like now. Like it was like some random old Chinese person and they were usually really fucking good. It wasn't like the general public thing yet, okay? At least not in New York how I was living, right? And it wasn't a thing. So now I'm starting to say, okay, well, there's more to this. What's going on? So now I see the guys on YouTube, like, okay, now what is this fucking magic? And remember, I was already studying Buddhism and medical qigong, so I understood qigong already. And I guess the qigong that I learned for fighting was a very basic iron body stuff. It wasn't like this advanced Tai Chi pressure system thing, okay? It didn't exist, no one talked about it. So I started, and I tell you I spent good 3,000 hours, and I'm not joking, at least 3,000 hours analyzing video clips in slow motion, recording details, testing on my students. Like, I went ham to reverse engineer Tai Chi. And I used every dirty trick in the book, okay? I went to every school, I would freaking make believe I'm an idiot, okay? I played against world champion, push hand guys, judo, I mean, you name it, I went out and I did it, okay? I am that crazy fucking guy, and like, people will tell you from some of this, I'll be like, I'll walk up to you, hi, you wanna play? And I'll do that on purpose to disarm you. So, I've gone, and I will venture to say nobody on the fucking planet. There might be one guy, Bruce Francis or Franchise or something. He was big on YouTube a long time ago, and he's the only guy, because he's like that. I grew up under the generation like him. The mindset where it's like we're growing up with guys who are murderers and killers who will take your life with no regard, okay? Like these are people who are trained this shit to just destroy you, okay? So it's a different idea. Anyway, so what I did with them to go around stealing, and I always told people this, and when people come up, they will say, I will tell you, I came to steal from you. And I say it in passing gently, but they're like, oh, don't say that. I'm like, why not? It's true. And when I mean steal, I don't care what level you're on. You can be the first level. If you're coming from a different school, you have something I didn't get because you're in a different school. I'm going to steal it. If it means I'm going to let you punch me and hit me and try to throw me, there's been meetups where I will literally, for a year, I'll go and I will never attack. I will let them push me and throw me and come at me, bro. Come at me, come at me, come at me. So I can steal, okay? I did the stealing for a decade, okay? And every system. So what I started to do was use the same way William Chen used the Chen Man-Ching form and started to reapply old techniques that were missing in maybe 37 to 60. I started to add moves that they were still removed because it pissed me off when I found out what Chen Man-Ching actually did. And some of the ideas were good, but some of them are very bad for people, okay? And when you look at what happens to people's bodies, where it sounds like a good idea to do the soft small frame form and all cheap, look at what happens to the bodies of these people when they get into old age. It's great for people who've never done exercise, for the geriatrics who've done nothing, okay? And they need to be able to move. Okay, fine, that's great. But even then, you're not building a body, okay? You're dying a yin death. I don't believe that the Tai Chi form, when you see the yin side that's taught, I think that this was allowed to be released and has been misaligned over time and generations due to the Cultural Revolution and masters being murdered, okay? So, in my opinion, the system originally was the ultimate system, okay? It had everything in it. Everything in it. And if you look at the forms, and you look at the Wudang style forms, and the way it's applied, it's not, and then you look at Chen style versus the super light Yang style, and the only logical deduction is that the only real Tai Chi is to take every one of these lineages, take out what is different and keep what's exactly the same, right? Or to do it the opposite and then see eventually what fits. So that's kind of what I was doing. So instead of me going and learning the Chen style form, the Wu style form, and the Tong form and the other forms, what I did was I stole the techniques from them, from the teachers themselves, by letting them beat me up or try to, okay? I let them keep doing the thing, I let them keep applying the thing, and I would steal it. And I would put it in my form. Or I would go and apply something in the form in push hands meet and say, well, this is wrong. And I would change the form. And then, over time, I was trying to systemize it, okay? And then over time, it's like it broke because there was concepts that I started to get from random, crazy old dudes in Chinatown that they'll just walk in one day and you barely see this guy, and then it's like, what the fuck was that? Okay? And generally, most of the time, they were very open with me because of my reputation and also the fact that they understood I knew the thing. What is this? Hey, how's it going? Albako. Oh, greetings. Ik ben een Berliner. I'm glad to see you learn, so I appreciate you. So, yeah, so I was, what was I? Sorry about that. So basically, I was trying to put the form together using the William Chen's baseline form as a placeholder. So instead of me going, I'm going to learn the Chen style form, I'm going to learn the Wu style form, it's just nonsense. I mean, because the forms are just notebooks for technique. When I teach my karate students, I tell them, okay, now that you've learned all 27 forms, I want you to pick 3 forms. And those are going to, 3 forms that have all your favorite techniques and just practice those. Because when you get to about red belt, at that point, one form will keep your ability up. You know what I mean? Because there's only 12. All right, there's 12 hands, 12 feet, 5 stances. That's it. And my master didn't want me teaching Neo karate style, so I created another system that reduces it down to just a hand set, which looks exactly like Wing Chun. So if I was to take Taekwondo or karate, old style, you have this punch, you have this punch, you have this punch. You have this, 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 you have this. That's it. That's the whole style. Right? It doesn't matter what I'm doing. Every technique is based on these 12 hand movements, 5 blocking positions, and 5 stances. Okay? So with that concept is reduction, I just isolated the parts that were in Chen and Wu and Tang and Mantis and other styles, and I isolate, okay, that's the thing that's missing from here. That's the thing that's missing from here. And I started to put it in my form. And in the beginning it was systemized. I knew, I even wrote down, this guy taught me this thing, and I was going to try to make it like my original plan was to try to make this living book of every single Tai Chi guy I met in my form, so I could pass it around. And I wanted to have it really concise. And life happens, people start dying, things, so it didn't work out the way I planned it, guys. Okay, so I apologize for that. But at this point, 20 years later on this mission, this is what I've come up with, and I made the mistake of, allowing life to sidetrack me. So I no longer have that linear progression of this is where I got this thing, this is where I got that thing. It's just a mess. So that's why I did the video, the last video, because I was trying to talk out what I feel, because it's changed, and it's changed so many different ways over time. And so I'm going to start explaining the video now, okay? So I know I give you the preface and the bullshit, okay? So let's do a review of what we were talking about, okay? So obviously, fix this camera just to see my feet. It's going to let me? That might be the best I can do. Sorry, let me see if I can move it back a little bit. This might be better. Can you see my feet? Okay. Alright, I think you can see my feet. Okay, cool. So, 3 points of positive, negative ground. You have this bubbling spring well thing, which is basically the end of your plantar fascia, okay? And there's a hole in there. If you find this little spot, a little hole. The same spot right here, and they match. Okay, great. You make the connection, fine. Tibial tuberosity, a little bump over here should be over right behind the spot on these 2 toes, basically over that point. Okay, now you find your central equilibrium, you find your stack, but you have to North Star, and you expand all your joints. Okay, fine. So we got all that. So what I was just explaining was if I take the fight mode out and just go into my form for chi, how I was feeling. I'm going to go into a little more detail this time, all right? Because what is happening is I'm trying to explain if when you're thinking these 2 modalities in isolation. For instance, I'm only thinking on the fighting and I'm only thinking on the chi. I never do that. Okay? It was an example. So I was doing it because I was teaching a Qigong class, and what I noticed is that the standardized methods of teaching this shit don't work. They don't make sense to the average person. It's occluded, it's hidden, it's done on purpose because they were killing the masses in those days. So the way it's taught, using Chinese terminology, the timeline, the order of operation how it's taught, does not work. Okay, it's the same as Buddhism. It's taught backwards on purpose. All right, if Buddhism was taught correctly, you'd have 100 billion fucking Buddhas right now, and I don't see any. So there's something wrong. Okay, so the thing that's wrong in my opinion is that there's too many offshoots and too many purposeful pitfalls that are put in. They teach you wrong on purpose. The Chinese are notorious for this. Okay, teaching you wrong on purpose. Okay, so what I was doing was I was splitting the intent and concept so we can isolate what's happening. But when I apply it, I'm doing the form, it's nothing what I'm thinking of. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with that. Okay, because the way that the forms evolved for me is a very strange thing. Okay, so I guess let me attempt to see if I can remember the stages of how I started to perceive the form. So when I started doing William Chen's form, it's the basics of open and closing, right? So you have, it's just, very basic. You have your 3 channels in the feet, straighten your bones, keep your head up, and then you just do your basic open closing, right? You have your sleep position, your awake position, right? Your compress or decompress and stretch. And it's a very simple thing, right? There's not many spirals. The stances are very upright, there's very little leaning, and there's a little shift, similar to the Wu style, where you have a lean and then a shift, okay? But there's not much going on here in that sense of really being forced to open and close and expand and contract. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you guys. So if we're I'm going to start streaming on the computer soon. So when I do that, I'll be able to actually read your comments, okay? So William Chen's form, it's very basic, and the thing that's cool about it is it's really easy to turn into boxing, okay? This is real easy to learn how to hit somebody with, okay? This is real easy to learn to box with, okay? This is not a thing, okay? So this is not a hard thing to understand, right? Tai Chi boxing is very simple to understand. When you look at the body mechanics of William Chen's Yang style, Very, very efficient, very simple understanding. Just make a fist, okay? And now everything you do is a back fist or a punch. It's not difficult, okay? So, that's how I started it. Then I started on Chun Ching style, and they were more about, the push hand and being soft, and I remember I met Bill, and this guy had the weakest handshake I've ever had in my hand. Nicest guy, really good at Tai Chi, but you grab this guy's hand and it felt like there was nothing there. And it's just like, this is fucking mush. So I'm like, this is a whole, what is this? So that moment, I'm like, okay, so that was this extra soft thing happening. Okay, fine. So, but what I got from them was the idea of the wrestling aspect. And that's where I was like, oh, so that's where that comes in. So that changed how I felt the ground, right? So I started to feel my root differently than I would. And I think it caused some problems because it started to get my balance to be more on my heels. And I feel like that, I already had a lot of back injuries, from car accidents and, being an action hero. But, I felt like that was making it worse. Okay? Over time, I started going, 2003. So now I started seeing the woo-woo stuff. This is like 2003. So now I'm dissecting, I've also grew up in Chinese houses, like, all my girlfriends were Chinese, so, it was not too difficult for me to get people to translate some things or to help me, go over things. So I spent years doing that. So from there, and then researching, obviously, I have a book collection of over 1,000 books, so probably 300 books of martial arts. So I went through everything. So at that point, I started to notice, okay, what was missing from the fighting aspect of the form and what was taken out. And I think the first thing I started to really look into was the spiraling effect and the coiling aspect. And once I started to see that, it changes just from biomechanics, right? When you start to understand, okay, there's some coiling that's happening here, but there's not the coiling that should be happening here. Okay? So there's coiling happening here, but it's not the coiling that should be happening here. It should be complete. There should be this complete spiral that's obvious. Okay? That was removed. So I started adding that back in. Then, over time I started to see, meeting the Chen guys and the other people and their applications of linear power and how they drill into things, and started to see how it's so similar type of no. So that's why I put it together. Okay? So at this point, I have 3 versions of my form that I practice for different reasons. Okay, so let me make this clear. Okay, so at the point I'm at now, how I look at it is this, because this is too much for me to explain. I'm sorry it's like this, but I'm trying to remember how I got to the point I'm at. Okay, so when I was saying, okay, I turned everything off, the model that I've come up with now is there's 2 ways to look at the body. And William Chen is basically a bone puppet where the meat is hanging off the bones and the bones supporting the meat. Okay? The second way is to look at the muscle supporting the bones and you're literally liquid. Because in reality, nothing is solid. Okay? And it just makes nothing is solid. So you have to think complete fluid, okay? Like your bones are floating, because even the bones aren't actually touching each other. There's something called synovial fluid. So when these hinges, there's this stuff inside, some kind of joint grease, okay? So your bones are literally floating on top of each other. The only reason they don't feel that way is because it's compression from excess tension. So if you get really relaxed after a hot steam bath and what's that, and you feel okay, your bones, they're not actually connected. So those are the 2 models, okay? what I'm feeling in general is, is these extremes in balance constantly. So that's what I'm always looking for, right? Is the 72-28 principle where, hard, soft is hard. So for instance, I look at the shell, this is my yang side, this is my yin side. This is where the frame is, this is where the energy is. So when I do the form, I've been really analyzing this, I'm always doing the qigong, but it's like I don't focus on the qigong. I'm focusing, generally speaking, there's levels. So like, the first thing I do is there's a part of my mind that's constantly, it's doing a status check, right? And it's always there. Foot, knee, hip, shoulder, hands. It's just click, 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 click. I'm teaching you the same thing. So when I go to analyze my clients, I go and I look at them, and my mind is a grid over their body, and I go from each hinge, the 9 hinges up, from the ankles, knees, all the way up the body. I make sure everything's stacked. I do my corrections in the sequence. And I'm walking through, and I have a class of 30, 50 people sometimes, and I'll walk in, and I'll look, and I'm doing this check on the grid. So that's the first thing I'm thinking of, okay, is, feeling my body weight, feeling my blah, 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 up from the ground up. So I have this, that's the first thing. Right? The next thing I'm thinking of is what the intent is on the form that day. Okay, so if it's something I'm trying to fix, or some concept I'm working on. For instance, I'm working on rooting, or if I'm working on stretching, if I'm working on like whatever it is that day. But another level is the snake crane thing, right? Dragon, phoenix, snake, and hawk, whatever you want to call this. And I said this last time, it's like these two arms, they're snakes on a tree, and these are two bird wings. So think of like this crazy, fictional animal where it's a hawk with snake arms. Okay? So imagine a bird and its wings are two snakes. Okay? So the wings have snake mouths on them. So that's the way I'm looking at the form when I'm doing the form. So this thing, here's my pivot point, and now I'm going to coil around, okay? So here I'm coiling around, okay? This guy, when you see it in action, it's separate, okay? So we have this snake here, and we have this bird wing here. And that's basically the function of the form for the majority. So I want to emanate and feel that feeling. So when I put my hand out, I'm really feeling this boa constrictor is at the edge of this tree, and he's just hanging his head there. And I really suggest, if you guys have never held a snake, go to a pet store and ask them to let you hold the biggest motherfucking snake you can find. And when you feel what it feels like to hold a snake in its hand, and it's just this, you have to experience it. You have to know what it feels like. And this is another thing. So the Chinese and those, these people, they think differently. Okay, I mean, the way their mind processes information, they have a pictorial language. So when they're teaching you like white crane spreads wings, they're saying this because those people saw the animal and know what a white crane looks like when it's hungry. They're pretty and they're beautiful looking things, but watch them fight. They're angry little fuckers. Okay? So it's not, this is like a really violent, angry bird. Okay? So you gotta think like what's the mechanism, right? How would you shake your body if you had like wings and shaking water off you? If you're a snake, how would a snake operate? Right? What does it feel like? What's the feeling of the snake body? So I said, to hell with what everybody else is doing. I'm going to do it how I think it should be done. And how I think it should be done by taking from every single place and putting it on top of William Chen's form. So that's where I got this from, okay? So now I have this snake and hawk feeling, okay, or crane, or whatever you want to call this. And you can start to see like this pressure. My hands aren't just here. No, there's a snake on a tree, and he's just here. So you got to think of what that feels like, right? What would this feel like if this was a snake on the edge of a branch, and he's hanging here, and you touched it? what should that sensation feel like from the outside? And that's what I'm trying to make my body feel like. Okay? From an energy perspective, the top is the hard side, and the bottom is the soft side. So the top is the frame, the bottom is the energy. So when I'm hitting something, I do like the taiji stuff, it's I have my weapons, my physical weapon, which is the bone, which is on the top side, and then this is empty tissue, which is the wave power. So I say I'm hiding it underneath, I'm literally hiding it underneath. And which is why you'll see me hit somebody, and they'll go, oof, and then they get like this dump inside. Right? Because I'm dumping in the wave after. So it's like I make a cut, and then I put the wave in after, if that makes sense. I explained this in another video where I play push hands. What I'll do is I'll make a slight touch, and that slight touch is what's going to make them shift. And that first shift, they can't handle the second impulse because there's nothing there to cover for it. That's the same idea. Okay. So now I'm dealing with, for instance here, I always feel the energy, but to me, I'm thinking of it as just my blood, right, and pressure. So the only switch is a kinesthetic switch to start saying, okay, I'm going to take my attention off of my bones and put it onto the energy. And when I make that switch, that's why I feel, oh, it's a bag of water. I want to make clear in that last video, I was separating the concepts to explain them. I don't do that. I do not practice that way. Okay? I'm practicing, to me, is form and function first, right? Like, so I have a very innate understanding of what happens when people hit you and you hit people. Okay? There's a certain amount of basic fundamental body mechanics that you have to have. Even untrained fighters, they use natural body mechanics. We call it the grab and clap, right? Whereas they'll reach out and you take his non-dominant hand, his dominant hand, to try to clap. And when they do that, they're very aligned with their three pillars. Okay? You're gonna see it. Watch any kind of scrub fight video, and people, okay? Caveman fighting styles come out very useful. So, okay, so I'm hoping this is making sense, because I know I've ranted a lot. Alright, so we got this energy body feeling, we have the bone stack feeling. So, essentially what I've done is I'm using both methods at the same time, but I don't focus on the chi feeling. What I focus on is pressurizing and extending and expanding from underneath and feeling the wave of my body weight. So I feel the body weight, right? So if I was to do this, and you feel like, if you go from, and then stop yourself, you feel like the blood in your body wants to keep going. The energetic pathways of kinetic force are the same trajectory pathways of of the chi force, the same path, okay? They go the same way. So, if you're practicing, you're fighting shell, okay? Your expansions, and you're reaching your intent, and you're feeling, and you're there, the energy's there. All this chi stuff is there. What's not there is you getting in the way. So you're either getting in the way because you're too stiff, or your focus is on something else. So it's distracting you, or you're mechanically not right in the ground. That's all there is. Because if your chi isn't there at all, you'd be dead. Your heart wouldn't beat. Okay? You can't measure chi. Okay, what the hell is an electrocardiogram? What the hell is an EKG if they can't measure chi? Is your heart beating? It's the chi. You have an electrical impulse. It's there. It's always there. So I don't think it's necessary so much to practice working with the energy field specifically from 90% of the population, because you don't have the body for it, and you don't have the mind for it, and you don't have the diet for it. So what's the point? And the reality is, it's not useful. You know what I mean? It's not useful. It's fun, but my point is, if you're practicing building the body up with fighting intent, and you have this kind of focus, and you're all up in it, that chi has to happen. It has to happen. The problem is you're just getting in the way. So you're getting in the way because you're either not in the ground correctly, or you're doing something with your intention that's getting in the way. Okay? So let's go back more into some of the things you'll notice are natural conclusions. So it's like if you're doing Chema Ching form, it's very natural to want to continue to do this role, right? Into a complete, like into the bottom salary, right? It just feels more correct, okay? This feels more correct than this. It just does, okay? You know, it's but I'm not taking anything away from the William Chen form. It really does work really well for boxing. It really does work well for push hands when you're training it, like that. But at the same time, there's some deficiencies that if you only train that style, you're gonna hurt yourself. Okay? It's just not good. It's not good. You're not meant to walk like this and only move like this. Okay? Your body you have to be able to deal with space. Okay? I had 408 discs. Okay? I'm always in pain, and I can still move. Okay? Because the way that I did my Tai Chi form, I made sure that I'm not going to get screwed up like that by looking at people doing it wrong. Just because someone changed something doesn't make it always good. Right? And I understand. They change it because they want to get more people involved, they want to make it easier. The reason I don't take private Tai Chi students, I've only taken, I think, 9 students ever, for really take as a disciple. Because you're not going to put the 2 years in, training with me 3 days a week for 2 hours, and then train every single day, twice a day for 2 years. You're not going to do it. So don't come to me saying you want to take lessons from me. Okay, I only teach advanced students who come from another style who already have a black. I generally look for black belts level before I'll even consider teaching them. Okay, because you're just not going to be able to handle it. So you're not. For me to teach karate that I learned, I'll go to jail. Okay? If I trained you guys, if I put you through a warm-up, how I was trained, they'll put me in jail. Okay? I'll be on the news. You don't understand. So, anyways, let's get back into it. I hope I was entertaining you guys. Alright. So, I'm going to try to explain how I feel the form when I'm actually doing it for myself for practice. I'm going to remove I'm just about the feeling I did last time, okay? So, I feel the weight on my feet, and I feel my back kind of stretching post into the ground, and now I reach to my fingers, and now I'm thinking, this is exactly what I do. Someone's in front of me, and they're going to push me or attack me. I have to get off the line, and now I have to prepare to accept force. This is, in my mind, and this is only consistent, I've gone through this over 1,000 times where people are trying to come at me and throw me or hit me with something. So this memory of my mind is, I'm about to get fucked up. So that's what I'm thinking, okay? Oh shit, and it's a slow motion fight. Okay, he's here, and now there's different variations of this, and I'm not going to go over them, but I'm thinking, where's the pressure? Where's the pressure? Where is he? Okay? Is he grabbing my wrists? Right? Is he punching? Where am I right now? Okay, where am I right now? So I'm feeling that guy. I'm chasing him. So now he's throwing he's throwing a left hook. I'm covering my face. Now I'm going to unhook him through the arm break. I'm going to hit him in the solar plexus. I'm going to hit him in the back of the head. I'm thinking in my mind, who did I just hit? Where is he? What's he doing? Where is he? What's he doing? Where is he at? Where's he going? Okay, he's over here. He's going that way. And that's what's really happening in my mind. I'm recreating this fight in slow motion. There's a punch coming in, I gotta deflect, I gotta grab, I gotta block, I gotta shift side. So I'm thinking to myself, where is he? Where is this guy? Where is this guy? Okay? And there's this constant pressure in my body. And I'm imagining the pressure. It's here. He's coming. I've been here before. I know this feeling. Okay? He's doing the long push, clear chest, sink and push. Okay? And I know the feeling. So in the form, I'm feeling that. Okay? And I feel it under. The top side is my shell. So generally speaking, in my style, I don't want to show my arteries to my opponent as much as possible. So the reason why I turn in, because he's coming with a knife, I want to hit with the back and roll out of it. I don't want to be starting this way, rolling into it. Okay? So there's a knife coming in this way, I pick it up in the back of the hand, and I roll out, now I have his neck exposed. Okay? So that's the idea. By having that kind of intent of, there's somebody putting pressure, there's something I have to do, there's somewhere going, and the constant feeling this fight happen, the energy that I'm producing on the underside is different than what you're producing. You're producing this intent of, no, I'm producing this, I'm going to stab you in the throat with my fingertips and try to, tickle your tonsils. Okay? So, and people go, so who does that? I don't give a shit. This is my Tai Chi. This is how I do Tai Chi. Okay? If you don't like it, go somewhere else. So, I'm thinking, this guy's in front of me. It's a very Xing-Yi perspective. Because again, I come from, traditional karate, the Tiger division. There's a fire element to this, where everything is, you're in my way, I'm going to go through you, and by fucking hell or high water, nothing is going to stop me. Okay? Like, to be able to go from the happy, happy, joy, joy, to I'm gonna rip your fucking face off, and mean it, to really mean it with every fiber of your being, that nothing except death is going to stop you from getting through that target. That's the intent I want. This is why I don't take students. I cannot train that into you without terrorizing you, without abusing you. Okay? That's how it was passed on. So how could I possibly teach you guys? The people who don't even understand the level I'm talking about. Like, I'm Pai Mei, okay? I'm the closest thing to Pai Mei you're never gonna see in this generation. That's the feeling I want you guys to have. That there's something, force coming at me. Someone with bad ideas is coming at me. And this has to create a shape that's gonna accept that kind of pressure. So that's, in my opinion, the most important thing, is your awareness and your intent. Yes, there's something to be said about the soft, but the thing is that you're a lot of you guys are using the soft side, and you're dying yin deaths. You're going too far south. Okay? Life doesn't work like that. Okay? And you hear these legends. Yang Chang-fu died of an overweight dude. He ate like shit, and supposedly from the story that I got, he got into a fight with some other master and got hit somewhere in his organ, got one of the dim-mak things, okay? These guys were brutal, okay? They look nice and flowery. These guys were fighting with their hands to the death over, snarky comments. Okay, Yang Chang-fu was, smashing people for doing what you guys do on the internet. What the fuck? This is saying that the fucking stream died. I don't know if it did or not. How long I've been dead for. Cancel? That's so weird. I don't know where I left you guys. Is anybody still here? Because I don't know what the hell part of the rant. I might just restart the stream. Let me see if I can test this out, see if I'm still on. Let's see. Am I live? Oh, okay, I'm live, it says. What? This fucking YouTube shit. Is it? Come on. Alright, we're still live. Sorry, guys. Okay, stream is up. Cool, thanks. It showed me that I was, it said retry the stream. I was like, what the hell? Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm ranting this out for you guys now because I'm trying to, as we're talking this, I'm attempting to create some form of linear curriculum that's going to fix this bullshit Tai Chi problem, okay? I'm not saying that everyone has to be this crazy fighter, but what I want to do is at least have some basic revisions of these methods to be brought into the modern context of people understanding them. Because there's no reason, it should never take you more than 2 years to learn any system. William Chen was with Chen Menching for 1 year and 6 months. Like, I never heard any of these masters. Very rare do you hear of a master that's been training under some guy for 10 years, and if he wasn't good in 2 years, he's probably never going to be good. Okay? It shouldn't take this long. It shouldn't take you 10 years to feel natural functions in your body. There's a mistake in the method, in the operations, in the linear sequential order of what's being taught. Because even the best schools are not pumping out quality students. And look, I'm gonna say this, a lot of it's not the master's fault because the society has changed so much. You cannot teach them, okay? Yeah, Master Yang Jingming, okay, I'm glad you brought him up. I don't understand how people do not worship the ground that man walks on. I don't get it, okay? I still have at least 2 or 3 of his books. How could you consider yourself a real martial artist of any style and not, like, yeah, it's just, he's literally a professor on the subject, like, you know, with an engineering degree. Like, that's the guy. It's like the guy. So there's nothing to say about that. However, I'm going to say this again, when it comes to like the Tai Chi stuff, my opinion from living around them and seeing from a social engineering standpoint, when I'm analyzing the social groups and seeing how they interact and what's happened over the last 100 years, oh, you got to get familiar with him if you haven't already, okay? Again, there is no such thing as a pure Tai Chi lineage anymore. In the sense, what I mean by that is, while some of these lineages have held true to that isolated block or interpretation of the system, it's too big. It's too big. So, you know, whatever lineage, you know, Yang Jingming was doing is authentic for that expression of it. But it's not the whole thing. You know what I mean? Because he's not doing any of the woo-woo stuff. See what I mean? And the woo-woo guys are not doing any practical applications. So my point is, it shouldn't be separate. The people who are saying, you know, like the Misner camp, I'm not against it. I'm just saying that when you're talking and you go to that side and you say this is the only thing and this is the whole picture, anything outside that's wrong, you're doing a disservice to the art itself because it's not true. Okay, it's not true. The classics didn't say to never use Li. It said don't use force on force. Don't use muscle to beat muscle. Right? Never said don't hit somebody in the softest target as hard as you possibly can. It says power is like a bow shooting from an arrow. Okay? They didn't say don't hurt people. It didn't say don't hit people. Didn't say, you know, it says whenever possible, do it like this. You know what I mean? So I've looked at it holistically where I attempted to bring the woo-woo into the I'm gonna smash you camp together. So there's things that I picked up from Yang Jingming, I can't, I've studied so much at this point that I don't know how to separate which parts are which. And that's where the real trouble's coming from. So I'm in a position now, I'm being called to start teaching again to, you know, very large, well-known groups. And then when we start teaching the Qigong stuff, and I have this dilemma where it's like I can teach it standardized, or I can teach it how I do it. You understand? Because if the standardized practices don't always work, they didn't work for me. Okay? So I can only show what I've come across. If it makes sense. I just don't understand why more people don't talk about the guy. I don't understand it. Like, I just don't get it. But a lot of the stuff, again, and this is one I remember now, cross-referencing, as I started to, because it's like all the styles, like, taiji, the freaking blah, blah, so I started to like analyze and see, like, one of my head teachers said to me that Tai Chi has all the other steps of Bakwa and Jing-Yi, but they separated them. So basically, like in karate, you have 27 forms, and each one teaches different. In Tai Chi, they have one form that is the entire grade system, right? So white belt is grass and sparrow's tail, right? Yellow belt is single whip going through brush knee. You see what I'm saying? Like, so for them, it's a different thing. And then, the steps that we're missing are in the sword form. So like, oh, so you're saying that the whole style, unlike karate, isn't in the one form. So I cannot learn just a handset and have the Tai Chi down. So anyone who's done a Yang style handset and has not done the sword form, you do not have the style. Because this sword form stepping and techniques with the hands that are supposed to be taken from the sword form and put back to empty hand. So without that, you don't even have the real shit to begin with. So it's another level. This is why it's so difficult. Because in karate, we have a syllabus. I know at this time, this thing at this X. In Tai Chi, not only is that syllabus messed up, there's parts that were purposely removed and put in other places for you to go find them, like a fucking treasure hunt. So, if you don't even understand that, and then they're gonna come and argue with me about what real Tai Chi is, so it's like, it's too difficult. So, I really want this to be a better stream for you guys than linear. I'm going all over the place, but I don't have a choice. It's gonna help me get this book out for you guys, so just deal with it. Okay, so I think fine, practicing the form in different modalities. So there are times when I'll practice the form specifically the idea of structure, where I'm really feeling, and this is what I did in the beginning years, like, I'm really feeling this is my foot, there's a pressure on my ankle, and I would sit there and I would click every bone into place, and then I would get here and I would just sit here and reach into it and really imagine this guy pushing into me, and like imagine, because I would have my students come in and have them, I have them push and push. So I would remember that feeling, and I'm practicing that. The problem with learning, because he says he's a slow learner. It's not that you're a slow learner, it's that the way that everybody learns is different. You have 5 senses, right? And 3 are primary learning senses. You have auditory, kinesthetic, and visual, right? So when I teach, knowing this, I purposely go out of my way to show you, tell you, and then make you feel it. And I do this in order, because I want to attack every input system at once. The problem with learning is you have to figure out how you learn. And the problem with modern school, and listen, I used to break IQs, okay? I used to score between 168 172. Okay, I was out of school for 50 days a year. I got hundreds on everything. I mean, literally broke the fucking system. And it's all about understanding how you take information in, and how general people take information in. Actually researching that and seeing, well, what's the best way for me to learn, okay? Another thing is doing full immersion. So again, you could say you're a slow learner. Slow is comparative to who? And is it that you're a slow learner, or are you not in the proper format to learn, or you're not creating in your own mind a receptive state to learn? So the first thing is you have to learn how to hack your reward system and actually enjoy challenges. And you gotta do is learn to present yourself challenges that are difficult but attainable. Okay? The other thing is to understand your long graph, and that I'm a slow, but you keep learning. The slow learner that keeps learning will always surpass the fast learner who jumps in and gets it, but then just like gets used to just getting it. There's that you have to just continue, okay? So it's probably not that you're slow, it's probably that you're not in the right modality, okay? And that's the reason I'm doing these videos, because when you're looking at Tai Chi, it's been taught on purpose, lying to people about it, People don't have it. Oh, it's a whole fucking shit show. There's no method that makes sense to people learning because it was taught wrong on purpose. Why do you think they show you these Chinese medical diagrams and they make it so difficult to learn? Because they don't want you to know. You know, one of the old masters in Chinatown is this famous mantis taiji master. One of his students was talking to me. And you know, and this is what they like so because they'll say like, they'll show you once, and if you get it, good, but if you don't, you don't. You know what I mean? And it's like, you have to earn it. You have to go and steal that shit. So that's what I did. I went and I started stealing shit. You know? I always gave back twice what I stole, but I you know, that's what I'm doing. But yeah, don't think like that. You gotta think, how do I learn? What's the speed I can learn at? And just keep chopping away. And if something, and it's, the more you guys get to know me, you're gonna see I'm not bullshitting you. You know, when I learn things, I was going, the reason I do that is because I just go in and attack it and become immersed in it. So there's something to say about being in immersion. Like for instance, the last 2 weeks, the only thing that I've done is work on this concept to bring it to you guys. And I mean 40 hours. Okay, of sitting around and analyzing and figuring out, okay, well, I did it like this, and really spending time. You know, the secret to genius is never letting people see how hard you work. Okay? You know, I come out to them and they have no idea the thousands of hours that have gone into like building my body and doing this thing. So, okay. So let's get back to the form stuff. I know I've been rambling, but okay, so let me try to make this more concise. So I'm always thinking the same biomechanical alignments. When I say like the feet, the head, central equilibrium, your North Star, all that chi stuff is always there. I start from that place. But once I get that feeling, I now go into, okay, we're gonna fight. And everything I do is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? Right? Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? Okay, is that gonna work? It may look the same. But I'm telling you, it looks the same. But when you come up to me and you get touched by me, you're not gonna feel the same. So you have to get that in your head. So to me, that feeling of mechanical alignment and stability is the most important thing first. Right? And then my intent to get into this opponent. So that's my baseline feeling. And now after a couple of weeks, you get that, now that becomes part of your checklist. So it keeps concepts, think of like you have a rubber band ball. You see a rubber band ball, you have one little rubber band, you make another one, and you keep making this rubber band ball bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what's happening because when I go and I program, for instance, my checklist, that's programmed for me since fucking, 12 years old, where you're doing karate, okay, feet, knee, hip, neck, shoulder, bang, okay, now I'm in. See what I mean? So that's checklist has been so, I still do it, but I feel it happening, but I'm not focused on it. So then you start applying another level, okay? So, and I have my compress, my stretch and my bend, and I do this, and I'm only thinking stretch and bend, but I already have my checklist. I already have my opponents in front of me. So I'm doing stretch and bend, okay? No, it's not, the Adam Minter stuff, I do it all the time. Did you guys not see my demos? Please, if you guys enjoy, I know YouTube's weird. You might have seen one of my videos and jumped in because you go watch my channel trailer. Go watch, what's the video? Last Day in Chinatown Woo Woo video. Everything he's doing, I've done, and I've done it on professional MMA guys, okay? And I've done it drunk and free, hanging around at the bar, okay? Like, not like, oh, I'm going to show you this thing. It's like, no, okay, you try to come at me, try to move me, bro. Okay? Like, I'm that guy. I'm that crazy motherfucker. If you took Adam Minder's skills and put it into somebody who doesn't give a fuck about smashing people's heads in, That's who I am. Okay? So, I'm teaching all the time. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. I'm teaching all the time. I have too many videos. Okay. So the question you're asking is a little hard for me to explain. The ability to do those things. My entire channel is dedicated to exposing how that works, but not to say that he's bullshit, to say that it's accessible to everyone. It's a mechanic, okay? There's no chi involved. No, it's okay. It's okay. I get it, but you know, I'm laughing about this as a frustrating. It's frustrating, and it's hard for me to get this video out clearly because I'm legitimately the old master on the mountain now. I've done all my work. I have all my certificates. I have all my broken bones. I've fought all the challenge matches. Okay, I've done all the things. Why won't you fuckers give me my flowers yet? No, but the Minzer stuff, I demo it and I show it. So if you go to my channel trailer, if you go to the main channel trailer or my popular videos, I have a video of Fajin Secrets in Plain English where I'm explaining, and with all due respect, my demo's better than his, okay? When you see me launch somebody, they get launched, okay? Because I'm not doing it to be the fake monk guy. I'm doing it to hurt people, okay? My Tai Chi was meant to hurt people. That was the premise. I was not doing it to be a spiritual advisor. I have Buddhism and Qigong for that. Tai Chi was meant to protect people, protect myself. That was the purpose. Being able to do all the extra Qi stuff and having a playground for my Qigong is a nice thing. But it's not why I do it. So everything I do is legit. Okay? It's legit. It's been tested. The guy that I do in my Fajing video, Fajing Secrets in Plain English, he's an ex-Marine. He's a brown belt under me in karate. He trained in Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu at Royce Gracie. Which Gracie? Henzo Gracie. So the guy that I'm demoing it with is a Marine with extreme high-level martial arts experience. Okay? And people are like, oh, it's not real. Motherfucker, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to fucking do, people? No, I'm not gonna make believe. I'm not gonna go and play pretentious fake Tai Chi guy. Okay, and I'm not saying that Edmund is a fake. But my point is, I don't make my presentation my identity. You understand? My philosophical beliefs and it's not my identity. I am not the Tai Chi god. I am, and I exist. Okay? And my personality and existence and my view on the world has nothing to do with my Tai Chi. So, that's not okay. What were we talking about again? Okay. So, going back, the items and stuff, let's go into the forum. I'm going to try to bring that up in the forum also. Because my goal with this video, the last two videos, is to try to explain my visual, my perception process in the form and how I click it apart so that we can dissect it and then figure out ways to allow people to learn it faster. Because the way that I feel this chi ball, it's not how I found it anywhere else, okay? It's something that's happened to me, okay, over time. And it works. So, and it follows all the basic models, okay, that I can find. So you have your microcosmic orbit, I have essential equilibrium, and now I come to the North Star and I'm released. Because my bones are sitting on top of fluid, I'm just floaty tube man. Okay, now I'm going to put my structure on top of it, and that stops the floaty tube man god, which is why I don't, for me, it was a shock, because I never take that off. There's no point of me ever going into complete yin tube mode, other than for maybe some kind of a health venture. Okay? This complete 100% yin state, well, 78 because I'm using my bones to stack myself. What the fuck am I going to do with this? So it's cool, it's a cool effect, right? And I can do some stuff with it. But if I don't have the 28% yang of my bone structure and my salad filling up, I can't fight with this. You know? It's not gonna happen. So the Adam Minzer stuff, mechanically, how I've explained this many times, how it works, is exactly the same thing with the chi bubble thing I'm explaining to you, okay? You're a pressure system. So if I stretch all my joints and get my stack up, I'm no longer using my postural muscles to hold me up to fight gravity and buoyancy force. So now I'm floating in the ether field, which is air, okay? I'm just sitting here on a balance point and I'm teeter-tottering. When I fill this up and stretch, now I've created basically this trampoline bow system with a trebuchet, okay? Where forces that are touched on my spring system, it's literally a bunch of tight strings on a bunch of springs. And he pushes in, and I change this angle, and he goes shooting out. It's all the same as how I'm shooting, and I have a C shape, right? And that happens a turtle shell. You do this, the impact comes in, and it rides down to your femur, right? So it's the idea of taking forces in and learning to redirect them. If someone's putting pressure on me here, and the pressure's on this axis, and I'm able to take that energy and hold it and return that static force to a 0 to 0 level, once I change the angle, it's going to shoot right back out to him. So what's happening is like this guy's here, and the wall just tilted, so his pressure is completely fucking him. It's just physics. It's not magic. The chi stuff, however, you can affect someone's body with, but which type of chi and what type you're trying to affect. So what I tend to use is the wave power, okay, which is a form of chi, which is G, force, kinetic force, okay? So I don't try to call it the electromagnetic stuff. When I'm talking about chi, I'm talking about G as a projected wave power, where if I take my hand in a pool and I press the pool, the water comes out in a wave. I'm dealing with that wave in my body before the wave comes out. And then I can control the wave and put it into his bones. Because I can control the wave in my bone structure, I can easily tap into somebody else's bone structure and put a wave in. That's all it is. It's mechanic. It's nothing crazy. Okay? So I think that it's more practical to be thinking that you're pushing your blood and your weight. I want to, and this is why I add the other steps in the form, because I want to feel as I've reached, I can't reach anymore, and now as I start to step in, right, I feel that blood shift, and then I get the extra shift back. That's from the Wu style, okay? Like, so that's what I'm trying to explain. I've added so many details, I can't even, I'm having a lot of difficulty remembering where and when I put them in at this point, because it became such a thing that I just kept doing it, and it became routine. So at this point, I've lost track of who taught me what. There's certain moves that I added that aren't from the Tai Chi form, versus Ben Boshu Tiger is a little different because it comes from Maizhou Mi. So my Maizhou Mi teacher, this is a different, it's a different setup. So I'm not going to show that here, but the point is, there's moves I added that aren't even in Tai Chi that I did to respect some teachers. So there's a few moves that aren't Tai Chi at all that I put in. So I gotta see that. Because I was trying to remember people. Okay, so going back to the concept of the form, right? So I went to a basic form. Now I'm doing where I'm reaching, compressing, and fighting the guys in front of me. This is 90% of my practice is always these three things. So this is the foundation, right? I make sure I have my checklist of body mechanics. I make sure the movement opening, closing, stretching, and bending. And I'm making sure that my intent is on the opponent and and the opponent's force. So not just like the opponent, I'm imagining the force, and I'm trying to feel and remember the feeling in my hands of when somebody was trying to punch me in the stomach or push me or stab me, or there's something coming and I have to redirect and take this line and deal with it. So to me, that idea is what is going to build your chi ball faster than anything else on the planet. Because what's going to build your energy other than you not getting your ass kicked? Other than you saying, I don't want to get punched in the face again. I really hope, I know a lot of people have been in a fight before. I really hope that all of you got punched in the face at least once in your life. Okay? I want you to remember that feeling of you getting your ass kicked. And what did that feel like? When you're doing your form, you have to think, the first move, someone's coming to hit you with a haymaker, what are you going to do? You better cover your face and stab them in the eyeball. And this has to be able to deal with the impact of someone full body swinging, punching you in the face. So if it doesn't have that quality, to me it's not a martial art. You're dancing. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, but these aren't martial arts anymore. MMA is not a martial art. It's sport fighting. Martial art means killing people. Killing people. Okay? Destroying people. Disassembling people. It is not about fighting. Okay? You're never going to get the real stuff if you don't practice the way the real guys did. And if you don't have the balls to do it, it's okay. It's okay. You can be that guy. But, that's my only issue. Again, because you brought up the administrative people, my only issue is the wording they're using, the selling point, and I can't blame them for it because it's part of the culture. You understand? So it's like I can't blame them for saying the magic chi or whatever the fuck it is, because that's the culture. And the most of the people that do it, they're doing it as a hobby and they want to, and it's fine. I'm not against that. I'll teach it that way. But I'm not going to tell you that, and I don't think he does it either, to say that way of practicing is going to work in a fight, for real. It's not. It's not. Under pressure, you result to training, okay? You're not going to be able to maintain this quiet state if you want people coming at you like this while you're trying to maintain that peaceful state. You understand? It's not going to happen. You have to put yourself in that mindset, okay? That, my single whip, this is a punch. I'm not just reaching. No, this is a neck break. This is an arm break. This is me grazing his windpipe. This is me stabbing him in the throat. This is me stabbing him in the eye socket. This is me punching him in the head. This is me freaking hooking something, breaking something, tearing something off his body, okay? You gotta think like a martial artist. Not say, oh, Tai Chi's weak, Tai Chi's bad, there's no strikes in Tai Chi. I can't. Alright, I'm going to try to focus this down. Because I wanted to do is go over the snake effect, really more than anything. Because I think this is the most practical idea. I was talking about having the feeling that your arms are two snakes. Alright? They're bird's wings and the bone is a snake. So I really want you to try this week, if you want to talk about practicality, is I don't care what form of Tai Chi you're doing. It's snake and crane, or snake and hawk, or dragon and phoenix. It's the same shit. I don't care if it's Chen style, Wu style. It's two snakes on bird's wings. Okay? Two snakes on bird's wings. That's all it is. Anywhere you go. So I don't care what style you're doing. Try it out. Just try seeing. Oh, can I apply this snake feeling? And think, how does a snake operate? How would a snake feel? And if your arm was a snake, what does it feel like? How would it move? What would it do when it makes contact with somebody? How would it wrap around somebody? How would it strike? How am I going to hit somebody with this? Where's its power base coming from? You know what I mean? Really see how's this, because it's literally two fucking snake hands. Okay? Once you just open this up, you can see it very obviously. Okay? It's very obvious. So that's how I look at it, And I also feel like when I'm actually doing the form, I'm feeling, because I've been trying to analyze it again, because when I do the form again, I've done so many years of this concept of feeling certain things that I ignore certain things that are happening. And what I've come to realize now is it's like I've mixed both the bone puppet model and the floating bone model at the same time. I don't have the words yet, okay? So to me, it feels like I have this solid thing on top and this empty bag on the bottom. So I'm actually doing the form I feel like I'm moving from the shell. And this is a shell. And it's like an impenetrable fucking shell. You can't get through this. And then the underside is where the blood flow and the energy wave comes out. And I can't wave from the top, but it feels very thin and sharp. That wave that you're talking about that gets people to bounce is really from inside the front. So why I keep saying the qigong thing, when you're doing the fighting body mechanics, they're the same path, right? The clear pathway of energy is the same path. It has to be. You can't, Like any move I can make is always going to be in the sphere, right? My sphere of influence here, right? So I have my 3 pillars. This is my biomechanical advantage against gravity, but I'm basically free to move 360 in this space. So, all right. So getting this, so when I'm doing all this stuff, I'm thinking mechanically, but I always feel that chi feeling on the bottom of my fingers. That I've noticed this last week is just that, to me, I was focusing on the transfers of weight and feeling the wave come out. So I'm feeling the wave come out, which is why I say if you're fighting, you gotta see it before. Because I want to see the step. I want to see the wave happen so that I can feel this shifting happening. Okay? That's what I'm trying to get the sense of in my underside. While I'm trying to do the coiling. While I'm trying to do other things. So here's my shift, here's my coil, here's my reach. So I'm having all these sensations at once. If this is making sense, okay? So I want to have all this happening at once. So it's all happening at once, okay? Now, when I say I'm going to turn off the fight mode, the only thing I really did was it felt like the top dissolved or the bottom took up the top. Because it's just like, okay, I'm not doing anything anymore. So once I said I'm not doing anything anymore, it felt like my bones turned off. So that was the experience I was having while I did the video. I know this is a lot of ranting. I hope this is making sense to you guys. Vijay Shaman said to be merciful to you and be cruel to yourself. He's right. He's right. Mercy, he's correct. But I think because when you're coming from the place where you're not a warrior, you're not going to understand this. But there's a difference between mercy and respect. So you should never show your opponents mercy, but you can show them respect. And the respect you give to them may be merciful, depending on the context. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem. Listen, if I was deployed somewhere, I'd have no problem just walking up to somebody, capping them, and walking away like it's nobody's business. It's whatever to me, you know? And it's because it's like, but the thing is, there's an honor code you have to follow. So to show mercy is to lose mercy for yourself, but to not show respect in the fight, it's to disrespect yourself. So, there's a difference between respecting someone and being merciful. Like, I'm gonna stomp your fucking head in, okay? Like, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna piss on you while I do it. You know what I'm saying? Or like, there's a point where you've gone, you're going past the point and you're just being disrespectful. There's no reason to I don't know, like maybe kicking all his teeth in is, a little extra. You know what I mean? It's not exactly the thing. I got this fucking humongous pimple going inside my ear and I think it's gonna kill me. So, I hope that makes sense. But no, if mercy means that you're gonna hold back and not stop, every time it's always end up badly. And look, there's fake morality in this world, okay? There's a lot of, I do my prayers every day, I do all my, but at the end of the day, how I look at Buddhist morality is not the way somebody else can look at it, for instance, like, so I've been, vegetarian for decades, right? And I see all these, like, activist vegans now, like, and there was one thing on Instagram where they were talking about, like, this bull was being chased, and, you know how they did running with a bull and they killed him and they feed the fucking homeless? And then he just jumped off the fucking thing and committed suicide. And I'm like, well, compared to, like, the tradition, it's not so bad. And all these, like, PETA people, like, oh my god, the animal's suffering and this and that. I'm like, don't come to me with your pretentious drama, okay? You guys are fake. All of you are fake, And it's like when you think about this, like, if you think about, like, real Buddhist vegan teachings, right? You're not supposed to eat root vegetables. Most people don't know this. You're not supposed to kill anything. You're not supposed to step on the grass because you can harm the insects or the grass. You cannot kill anything. So all these vegan virtue signaling people, if you're eating potatoes, carrots, if you're eating any plant at all that kills the plant when you ingest it, you failed. The reason I'm bringing this up is the perceptual standards is different. You get what I mean? So it's like, what's mercy? Like, what's being merciful? I mean, is it not killing the guy? Like when you have, like, plenty of times I've stopped motherfucking, I'm stopping someone where there's a fucking pile of blood. I could have kept going. You know what I mean? But there's a point where it's like, it's not mercy, it's respect. You get what I'm saying? He's done already. It's done. If I keep beating on this fucking guy, it's disrespect to myself. I hope that's clear that up for you. All right. I know this is a long stream. I did earlier this minute to come in, so I got a little sidetracked. Sorry about that. I think I made the point. Jesus Christmas Christ! I feel like I should do another stream just so I can go over the technique separately. Because I went over a lot, but again, I'm trying to collect my thoughts for you guys so that I can come up with a system of teaching this stuff that no one else has done that will get you to a practical level as fast as possible. That's the mission here, okay? Everyone around is full of shit. No one's doing the right thing and no one's learning anything. And the problem is I've put together what seems to be a new system of Tai Chi at this point. Because it's like, it has everything in it. It's like, there's so many parts. And I can no longer rely on the old teaching methods or curriculum because there aren't any standards to begin with. So I'm trying to figure it out. So those of you who have been practicing or testing out the explanations, you got to tell me what works and what doesn't work. Because we got to figure out how we can fix this problem of it taking 20 years to learn a system. It should take a year. Take a year. It'll take you 20 years to master it, but in the first 3 weeks, you should be feeling the chi feeling. In the first 3 weeks, you should feel your chi feeling, and you should feel how you should have some form of effortless power when someone puts their hands on you. In the first 3 weeks. If in the first 3 fucking weeks you're not feeling the thing that's supposed to, any other style, go to Taekwondo school, you learn a front kick, you learn a punch, you jiu-jitsu, you learn how to hump somebody. Tai Chi is about the chi. And people were doing it 30 years ago feel the chi. Okay? This doesn't make sense. So I'm going to start working on the qigong problem, not because it's because people are learning stuff and spending money and they're not getting it, and it's not helpful for anybody. So, I hope I answered your question about being merciful. All right, let me see. What should I? So all right, I guess let's go over the recap of the chi thing one more time. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can make this a easy checklist. Okay. Feel my feet. I connect my head. I find my equilibrium by stacking all my bones in order. So I'm literally going from feet, head, ankle, knee, hip, vertebrae, shoulders, elbows, fingertips, head. And I get that. And now, once I do that, I already start to feel something in my hands. Now I have to breathe. And when I breathe in, I'm breathing into my sacrum and my hips feel like they're pushing this way. And my feet, I feel the weight of them outside my feet. And then I breathe out, it comes in the inside of my feet and goes forward. So it's actually a circle, like, it's a half moon or something. It's a half moon, because it's a straight line in the middle, and then it goes out on the sides and then back to the front. So when I breathe in, my weight shifts back to my outside and hits my heels, and I breathe out, and my weight goes to the middle on the inside. So that's the basics of this. And then now I connect my palms, and I stretch my fingertips. And now I have this whole system. At this point, I'm already starting to feel pressure. So here I can feel my palm breathing. Okay, now I feel the ball. And the ball's not in my hands, the ball is resting on my spine. So that's how I get it. Now at this point, so right here is where I feel this sway, and I'm in the ball. The ball is it's not a solid ball, it's a jelly bubble ball. And I can't tell you if it's my back flexing or if it's because it feels like my stomach is being pushed into my spine by this ball. And I breathe in, it feels like I'm squeezing a water balloon. That's what it feels like. So now once I add, now I put my structure back in, and now I feel like how I normally feel like it. So I feel like there's like a sponge under my arm. So if I'm going to start doing my form, see, and this is the feeling I normally have. It's now that I'm starting to isolate it, it's a half chi feeling, where I feel the chi on the underside of my body, but the upper side is this fighting shell. But before I started to analyze this last week, it just felt like the wave. Now that I've decided I want to tune in, I can actually feel that chi feeling in my hands. And everything wants to kind of just go. So that's what it feels like. So here it's like, now I have both feelings. So it's like I have that bubble underneath. I can feel the wave pressing forward, but I have my shell on top and I'm still shooting forward. That's the feeling I got. Okay? As for the techniques, I can sit here for hours at infinitum of details of what I've changed and why I've changed it, the different versions of the moves that I have. Like single whip, I have 10 versions of single whip, I can just go on for hours about that, so I don't think it's really useful. All right, so if anybody who stayed that long, I hope that's good enough. I know I've just been rambling, but it's Saturday, guys, okay, and I'm solo. Do you have any questions? Anybody who's still here? Any questions from anybody, somebody, your mama's uncle? It's Okay, so yeah, it's very difficult to learn this stuff from YouTube. I'm gonna try to fix that somehow. Okay. I don't have the time for streaming. I've honestly, I'm still trying to recover from the lockdown. Okay, my life has been difficult. Okay. It's just when I have an idea, I jump on. But if there was a time where people wanted me to do a live stream, I would probably try to work around it and do it. But I haven't found a good time, and YouTube doesn't show my channel. They don't give notifications, so. Right, you need to feel it. So you need to. What I can tell you is, at this stage in reality, you have just as much chance learning from YouTube, if not more of a chance learning from YouTube, than you do in person. This is a time in life where you can go and find the highest level instructors and converse with them like this. I mean, and it's so easy that people take it for granted. To find me, okay, I'm legitimately one of the top trainers in the world. I'm not saying this to toot my own horn. No, I was the top trainer at the top fitness company in the world, okay? And you're just hanging out with me on YouTube, like I'm your homeboy. Like, you're in a time where this is not, if any time you can learn from the internet, it's now, okay? And the old, like before, to talk to me to learn Tai Chi, you'd have to sit in front of my fucking house for a month begging me to take you in. Not like, oh, I'm gonna hang out with you 5 minutes, teach me your fucking life, it's a different world. So I would take all the advantage I can of YouTube, Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate you're impressed. And it's a shame. What I'm hoping to do here is, again, I don't teach styles anymore. I coach people. You know what I mean? So my job is, I take fighters and athletes and people from all, and I work with them on what they're doing. Not so much teaching, because no one has the time. You're not going to dedicate 10 years to me. You're not going to become a disciple. It's not going to happen. You have to figure it out on your own. So in this new world of learning, we as instructors have to adapt in order to maintain and keep the system, the progeny, keep it going. So that's what I'm really trying to do by these live streams right now, is I'm talking things out so that I can get a linear idea of what happened and I can fix it up. And also I can get feedback from people who are trying what I'm telling them to try in their schools. All I'm saying is, what you've been doing, there's parts that have been purposely removed, parts that have been lost and forgotten, and parts that people are just pussies and society is falling apart and you're doing it wrong. So I'm trying to give you is fundamental universal concepts that you can go and put into your practice and switch your practice immediately. Oh yeah, right. You can't learn it from YouTube. You can learn it from YouTube. You can't learn it on YouTube. So everything I'm teaching, for instance, I'm showing you a concept. You go and you have a training partner and you apply the concept. So you this is the thing people don't understand about learning. The teacher's job is not to teach you. The teacher's job is basically like Google. My job is to give you a format or to point you like a tour guide. You gotta walk up the fucking mountain. This is why you will have masters of every assortment, and if they're lucky, they'll get one who can get the full transmission. One. People like me come around once in a generation, okay, in your areas. You know what I mean? Who's going to do that work? You know what I mean? That's the problem. It's on you. And Tai Chi is the worst of this. Tai Chi is the loneliest road you will ever encounter. All right, and it's much worse than anything else, because in the end of the day, if you're learning for real, you are going to stare into the fucking abyss. You have to get up by yourself, and I use for karate and everything else. But the difference is you are literally going into the abyss. Okay, like you have to go every day and go inside and fucking deal with everything. And it's not just your physical body, it's your emotional and mental body. Like, you're in the shit and it's alone. So it's not something I recommend to everybody. Yeah, you have to have training partners. I'm trying to, and that's literally the plan. It's been the plan for years. I've written a couple of books. It just is, right now, I'm going through this to create the system itself. And that's why I'm talking to you guys today, because I have to unfuck my own mind from the years of putting it together and reassociating. Because remember, it was broken up. You know, Tai Chi was split up into all these fragments. So I had to go find the pieces and put it together with duct tape. So now that I've duct taped it together and it works, I forgot the order. You know, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm always honest. I've forgotten more than most of you will ever learn that you ever have a chance of learning. So for me to, at the stage I'm at now, I have to not only figure out the linear scale of it and how to, but I also have to like deal with the fact that everyone's doing it wrong. Everyone's doing it wrong, and I'm gonna have to tell them they're doing it wrong, and they're not gonna like it. They're not gonna like it. They're gonna hate my fucking guts, you know. And it is what it is. I've established that, you know. I grew up in a time, right, where you gotta be humble, okay? Like, imagine this. I was born this prodigy, okay? Like, IQ 170, you know, I'm fucking like, you know, like, I was a fucking weirdo prodigy dumped in hell. Oh my God. And when when I look at my entire life and I try to put this in a book format for you, I have to be able to do this in a way that's gonna, the reason I brought that up, like, when I was growing up, I was super smart, I was super talented, I was really good at everything. And everyone would cause a problem, right? It's always, you know, you have to do your best, be a good boy, do this, right? But get shitted on. Oh, but don't be too good, because if you're too good, people will hate you. You gotta be smart, be super smart, be good in school. But if you're super smart in school, everyone's gonna hate you. You better be good at sports. Oh, but if it's too good, they're gonna hate you. So you, in one time, you gotta be modest, you gotta be humble, blah, blah, blah. And then my teenage years, I'm doing, okay, fine. You know, and then I was still in the society of the old guys where that worked it. You know, when you can be humble and, you know, and people respect. And then I come to the world of the internet, where it's like, if you're not the most egotistical, pretentious piece of shit on the planet, you get nothing. So it's like, like taught me wrong on purpose. So now I'm charged with this position where I'm like, I have to save the fucking world. And taught wrong on purpose. So I have to figure out a way to do this where it's efficient, it works, it makes sense, and it pisses off the least amount of people as possible. Okay? Because I have to get all those people, the Anna Minzer people, I have to get all those people on board with me. Okay? Because I can't get on board with them because none of them work together. Okay? None of them are universal. Everyone has their different opinions. Everyone's doing something else. Everyone thinks everyone else is better than everybody else. And nobody is focusing on the art and society. They're all focusing on my thing is better, and that Tai Chi's not mine. I'm a scientist recreating something, and I'm finding it. This is my findings. My findings are better than yours. But that's the serious thing. So this year is the goal, and saying this is I'm going to put together a video library of I'm talking about like a professionally done video course like Yang Cheng Min did, okay? And I'm going to put out a book, some kind of PDFs and things like that. That's my goal for the year. But this is the stage where I have to stop and pull everything apart, talk it out, and explain to you guys what the hell happened for the history books. You know, I was looking for somebody who can edit and can do the PDF thing. Because I know that there's a whole, you know how it is. There's like programs you have to use to get it to go to Amazon. So I may actually look into you for that. I appreciate it. I'll give you forward credits in the book. but that's another issue is, you know, the level that people are on, they don't understand. like, for some, some people get it, but they just, there's issues with who is the audience that I'm going to be teaching, right? Because again, I gear all my stuff to intermediate and advanced people. I'm so far ahead of everybody, it's a disgrace. I should not be teaching beginners. There's no reason for me, no one should be coming to me as a first year student, talking to me like they're on equal footing, and like I should be teaching them stuff. No, you should come to me with a foundation, okay? You should already have your foundation. You should already study. You should know the classics. You should know, the basic forms. You should have some basic shit down before you come to me asking for lessons, right? Like, I don't have time for that. Nobody has time for that. Especially with Tai Chi, because it's such a huge undertaking philosophically. Nobody can help you. It's a lonely road, okay? So like I said, I don't teach Tai Chi, I teach concepts. I teach theory and applications. Even as a fitness, I haven't taught the old way in, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years, the last time I've taught the old style, like the old way. You can't fucking deal with that. You guys can't take it. You don't want it. Trust me, you don't want it. Imagine going through boot camp. Like, you've seen videos of like the Marine boot camps. Imagine that being your life. I want to make this very clear to you. Your life is boot camp. Getting hit, getting yelled at, getting screamed at, getting fucking burns and bruises and fucking like this is like your life. Training that hard. They don't want it. So I'm not going to make believe and say that I'm going to take disciples and students anymore. Because there's too few far between. Not many of you have the living conditions to be able to do it, right? Didn't Yang Sheng do that? Look, I learned 3 years Tai Chi Yang style. Oops. Right, and you're exactly right. The syllabus is broken. Now, is it their fault? Again, I can sit here and I can write a book, no bullshit, on where and when and how Tai Chi fell apart through the Cultural Revolution, even when you understand Lasu and you understand when he wrote the book, there was the king and this other weird shit happening, and it was a treatise of like dealing with warfare against the king. Like when you're talking about like softness overcomes hard, or they were talking about something around giving the guy land, and if they gave him too much, he would take too much. It was like, even then, Tai Chi was being corrupted and hidden from the king trying to kill them. So even when the Tao Te Ching was written, there was the king oppressing them, so they had to hide the theory and the way that they were talking about the government. So the spirit of de-evolution has been with Tai Chi for decades, for generations, millennia. Okay? So when you keep breaking it down, I don't believe that these teachers are doing anything wrong. They're doing what I'm doing it because he did it. He did it because he did it. And I'm the 38th generation who did it this way. That's, and that's what I'm trying to fix. Because they don't have the awareness to understand the social engineering aspect and how it's de-evolved. And for instance, like the Minzer camp, for instance, they're doing is correct. And I've always said this, their lineage, the way it's taught, is correct. In the grand scheme of Tai Chi, he's wrong. Okay? It's a killing art. You have to have yang power. You have to have an exploding, smashing force. That's the full scope. At the same time, the people who are doing the hard, the functioning, there's no woo-woo, they're wrong because they have to have the yin side. So if you have no woo-woo, your Tai Chi is poo-poo. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm saying that everyone's right, everyone's wrong. I have to cut out all the shit that's wrong, collect all the parts that are right, and create a new system of Tai Chi that I can send to people that is not only one that has a form, but has a theory set that can be extrapolated and applied to all other systems to fix the bullshit. That is my goal. That's why I'm doing the video. That's why I'm doing the live streams yesterday and today, to explain these concepts. And I'm really trying to figure out who needs what and what the audience is, because right now they're trying to keep me suppressed and shadow banned, deleting all my accounts. You know, it's what it is. So I'm not letting me get real market research, and it's kind of annoying because it's not really going to stop me. Okay, like I'm just playing slow and stupid, waiting for the right moment, and saving my resources. I can very easily just go buy new hardware and a VPN. Okay. And take over the fucking internet with about $1,000. You know what I mean? I don't care at this point about. I've already been famous on many levels, many times. Okay, I've had my records. 2000. I was touring. I was my records were 26 countries. I headlined porn conventions. I've had my fame, so I don't really care. You know what I mean? So to me, it's like whatever. So I want to do this the correct way and make it clean. So figuring out who the audience is, what's most needed, what the biggest problems are first. And what I'm seeing right now is the biggest problem is the chi thing, because no one really understands what the fuck it is and how to do it right. So that's that. All right. Any other questions, comments? I made this a long video. No one's gonna sit through it for 2 hours. Anything else for you guys? What I'd like to know is, well, I still got you. What do you really want to see? What do you want to see? Like, what do you guys need? Like, what does the average person doing Tai Chi need? Because I don't know. Because I'm not the average person. Okay? I can only look at what I'm seeing and say, well, this doesn't look right to me as, someone who is a movement expert, certified functional movement expert. I'm looking at it from a biomechanical standpoint. I can say, okay, this doesn't work, let me fix it for you. This is going to get people killed, let me fix it for you. Which is basically the premise of most of my stuff. I saw Zhuzhan kicking the shit out of people, so I made videos explaining, this is why you get your ass kicked. And people are like, oh, you're so mean. Or, when the fucking cities are burning down, and I see somebody teaching bullshit, make-believe Tai Chi boxing, you're gonna hurt people. So I say something. Why are you so mean? And anybody who wants to give me fucking advice about how to run a channel, but you don't have a channel, or you have no videos, or you don't deal with people, or you never talk classes, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Like, keep your advice to yourself. Until you're gonna get up in front of the camera, just shut up. That's my opinion. Okay? So, anybody just came in, welcome, what's up? I was going to sign off. How do I train? Okay. So, it's depending what I'm training for. Right now, the last 3.5 years, I've been on vacation. COVID, I took it as an excuse. My master died. My fiance was abducted and put into a mental institution. I was working as a bodyguard for a fucking federal indictment. All right. God literally, in my meditation, told me to leave New York. So I ran. And so that's what happened. And my training now is just me, trying to not die. So I train, I do the foam in the morning and the foam at night. That's my training. Okay? That's my training. I do rehab, which is, foam rolling, stretching, kettlebell. So I have a 50-pound kettlebell. So my entire training is the Tai Chi form twice a day. This is my workout. Okay? 50-pound kettlebell, 35-pound dumbbells. This is my gym. That's my rehab facility. Okay? These are Vipers. I use these sometimes. But what I suggest you do to train Tai Chi, depending on which form you're doing, if you're doing 60, 37 type forms, I suggest you do what I did to create the Tai Chi body. Is you take 2 years where you do the form every day in the morning and at night. I did it 3 times back to back, where I did right side, right side. So I did the first version this way, then I do the mirror version, so I have my left side, and I end with the right side. Okay? I do that twice a day for 2 years straight. That's how I did 3 years. So then when I'm working in the gym, I don't have time to be, training like that much. So, I would do the form once in the morning, once in my lunch break, and once at night. And then I would do a routine similar to that, depending on what I'm training for, right? Right now, I'm just training to not be hurt. Oh yeah, but I've barely been working out, guys, barely. But when I was training in the gym, that's all I do, that's my routine. So my kettlebell routine from actually training, like if you see pictures of me, well, just ban me on Instagram. But if you saw my pictures when I was actually training, I looked like a fucking Spartan superhero. That's all I would do. You know what I mean? I did some other stuff, but majority of my work is kettlebell and calisthenics. And I start off with a 44 kg, 100 pound. I do a one arm clean press. And I'll do that 1 to 3 reps. Then I drop down to 72 pounds. I do one overhead, 3 reps for 3. Then I go to 50 pounds. I do my working set of like 8x5 or 5x5, which is basically a compound lift. It's a squat to clean, and that's all I do. Okay, and then I would also throw in Turkish get-ups. But the way I do the Turkish get-up is the original way from fighting, where the kick off, where normally you're doing the get-up. So I'm going to do this. So you're here, you do your get-up, and you're here, right? And then you do this, and then you turn this and do what's called a kickstand. We don't do that. We do it this way. So I'm coming up, and then I take this foot, and I come over. Okay, that's the original way the get-up was performed because it was a wrestling move. Okay, it's how you get up from being in a, in a mount. So if someone has me in a mount, the Turkish get-up is how you get out. So you're here, one leg is out for base, one leg is hooked. Okay, fine, here, arm, I have my leg, I gotta post up, I try to post up, I get my hand underneath, fine, now he's bridged under, I'm trying that little shrimp crawl to get my leg underneath. And now from here, most people want to do the kickstand. But this doesn't make sense for me to go like this, right? Because where is this guy? I have him over here. I want to step over him. Okay, so yeah. I got my kettlebell certification from Kettlebell Athletics, by the way. But, so yeah. That's how I work out. Now, I'm deciding if I want to go back into working out for physique. I only do the barest minimum right now. And I tell you, after COVID, I decided, I'm like, I've been doing this my whole life. I'm fucking tired. And you can see, I was, before I left New York, I was injured. I was not training. I was literally going back to back, training people, working as a bodyguard, fucking taking care of people in the hospital. It was 2 years of me just running like a fucking maniac. And then finally my teacher died and I finally left New York. I'm like, I'm not doing shit. So I spent the first couple of months and just I wasn't doing shit. So, yeah, so I'm just getting back in shape now. But as for me, how I physique-wise, the only thing it's diet. So basically I do intermittent fasting and I eat pretty clean, because I've been vegetarian for 20 something years. So, this is like junk food to me is fucking dry tortilla chips. Dry tortilla chips and oranges. That's basically how it works. So, is that any other questions? Shit, I don't mind doing these streams for you guys. I just didn't expect anybody to show up on a Saturday morning. I was gonna do a really quick stream to explain that stuff, but I'm glad you guys showed up. So you're welcome to the party. Another thing about the kettlebell, I'll show you guys really fast. So this is 50 pounds. I don't think anybody should be tossing a 50 pound around. When I do the kettlebell, same as Chinese stone lock, there's a rotation that most people aren't doing. So when you go to make the grab, whatever, they're pulling linear and they snap. And if you notice, everything here is about the rotation. So I rotate up and then I rotate up, okay? So 50 pounds is pretty heavy for most people, okay? But if you notice the rotation, and the alignment of the 3 pillars, 50 pounds is not really that heavy. You know what I'm saying? When you have your alignments correct, it's not that bad. Okay? So, but again, it's about getting rotations and alignments that way. Oh, you're in Israel? It's also Shabbos, isn't it? You're supposed to be using electricity? It's supposed to be an Amish country right now. I'm signing off, bro. I'm going to hell. I'm hoping you break Shabbos. What the fuck? Alright, well, Shabbat Shalom to my Hebrew friends. Okay. Ik ben een Berliner. Oh, okay. Oh, give me some matzah, alright? Haven't had matzah soup since I left New York. Actually, the hottest girl I've ever had was this girl named Talia, and she was Israeli. I was like 14, and I was in love with this girl. Like, she was the hottest thing I've ever seen. And her dad found out and shipped her back to Israel. It's like, nope. He literally shipped her back to Israel. He's like, nope, not gonna happen, buddy. Like, thanks. How dare you? My dreams! You killed my dreams! Alright, well, I honestly fucking shit the bed on this stream because it was a mess, but I'm glad you guys were entertained. I'm just gonna cut this one off now because I'll keep ranting forever, I don't mind, but I think a 2-hour stream, no one's gonna watch the whole fucking thing. So I'm gonna have to go back and do this again in a more concise format. If anybody jumps to the Discord, I don't know what day and time is the best logical time for people. I'm just one guy living on the mountain, man. I don't know what's going on. So if you have any suggestions, comments, topic of discussion, I'm gonna continue on the what the hell's going on in the qigong thing and try to make this more concise for you guys as we go along. I hope this video helps in some way. It's nowhere near as concise as I want it to be. I apologize, but we'll do it again. So see you guys soon. Peace out. Oh, and tell everybody to like and subscribe. No one's fucking doing that stuff. Peace. You take care of yourself too, friend. I'll see you guys next time, right? Peace out.